Welcome to the Old Time Radio Westerns. I'm your host, Andrew Rhynes, and I'm excited to bring you another episode absolutely free. This episode is one of many released every month, totaling over 80 episodes so far. Each one is meticulously digitally restored and stored in the cloud for your convenience, a process that incurs costs. To help cover these expenses, you might hear some advertisements throughout the episode. While we do retain the original commercials for historical authenticity, you may also encounter modern ads, which help keep the lights on. If you prefer an ad-free experience, we offer a couple options. You can listen to the episodes on YouTube. You can also support us by becoming a patron on our Patreon page. For more information, go to otrwesterns.com/donate. Again, otrwesterns.com/donate. I do want to emphasize that we are committed to providing this content to you for free, but also we have to be transparent about the financial realities to bringing this to you. Now, let's get into this episode. This episode is going to be The Lone Ranger. Original air date, this is actually going to be a 4-part series. Originally aired November 7th through November 14th, 1947, and the title is Union Pacific. Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoy.
Fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty hi-yo Silver, the Lone Ranger. With his faithful Indian companion Tonto, the daring and resourceful masked rider of the plains led the fight for law and order in the early western United States. Nowhere in the pages of history can one find a greater champion of justice. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. From out of the past come the thundering hoofbeats of the great horse Silver. The Lone Ranger rides again. Come on, Silver! Let's go, big fellow! I'll Silver! On the 2nd of December, 1863, a great crowd had assembled at the riverbank in Omaha.
The West shall be a wilderness no longer. The West that is to start when we break ground will carry civilization into all the West and open gateways to every corner of our great nation.
That was the beginning of one of the most thrilling epics of American history. The beginning of the Union Pacific Railroad.
I tell you, it can't be done.
A railroad to the Pacific?
Just think of the obstacles.
Yes, the obstacles were legion. Ties, steel rails, all manner of equipment and materials had to be shipped up the Missouri to Omaha or hauled across Iowa in wagons. And there were Indians. Beyond Fort Kearny, the workers had to frequently throw aside their tools and pick up rifles to drive off Cheyennes and other savage tribes. There was hostility on every side, but the end of track moved on. As the tracks crept westward, they took with them a town made up of the construction crews and their hanger-on friends. Shacks, tents, furniture, and personal belongings were unloaded and set up at each new end of track. Gamblers, confidence men, schemers, and crooks moved with the town to take advantage of the chance to help the workers spend their cash. The portable town had been 3 days in one location when Jeremiah Gregg came into the cafe. He saw 2 men seated in the corner and went directly to their table.
We've been waiting for you, Greg.
Yeah. Me and Martha have been here over an hour.
Yeah, well, I've been talking to that little old bald-headed man who works for Powell.
You mean Gabby Norton?
He seems to be quite close to Powell.
He keeps house for Powell and his daughter, does the cooking and such. You say you were talking to him?
Yes, and I don't like the way things are going.
You're trying to get out of paying us.
No, Martha. I'll pay you as I agreed.
We wrecked that supply train just as we agreed to.
I know you did.
What'd you learn from Gabby?
Powell knows the wreck was not caused by Indians. Boys, he knows that there's a definite plot to hinder the construction work. From now on, we'll have to be more careful. In fact, we'll have to be exceedingly careful.
Look here, Greg. It's about time you laid the cards on the table for us.
I'm putting money on the table. That doesn't satisfy you, say so. I'll find someone else to do my work.
Yes, me, I don't think you can stop Jim Powell.
Oh, he'll be stopped when money runs out.
The government's paying the cost.
I want to slow down the progress of this railroad to such an extent that Congress will refuse to make any further appropriations.
Gee, you got any other moves in mind, or you aim to leave things up to us?
Oh, I have a few plans. I'll discuss them with you later. Among other things, we must find someone to take the blame for last week's wreck.
Take the blame?
Yes. I told you that Powell knows the wreck was not caused by Indians. He's telegraphed for help. And he's had an answer to his message.
What's going to happen? The government sending soldiers?
According to Gabby Norton, the government is sending a special investigator. And, boys, it's up to you to see that this investigator gets the evidence he wants.
What kind of evidence?
Evidence to prove that Bill McGuire is double-crossing Powell.
Bill McGuire?
Exactly.
But he's Jim Powell's right-hand man.
Well, not only that, he's in love with Powell's daughter. They're fixing to get married.
It won't be easy to frame McGuire.
Just carry out my plans. That's all you have to do.
At the end of track, 10 men unloaded rails from a horse-drawn cart and set them in place on the ties. 2 rails were placed each 15 seconds. Metal plates called rail chairs went into place at every joint.
Hurry up for those rail chairs, boys! The spikers are catching up here.
Bill McGuire saw that the plates were securely fastened, then checked with a straw boss in charge of the spikers, who put in enough spikes to hold the rails in their proper position until the main body of spikers came up.
Here comes Mr. Powell. Oh, take over, Joe, while I talk to the boys. Hi, Mr. Powell. How are things up ahead, sir?
And they're all right as far as I can see, Bill.
Oh, by the way, Mr. Powell, the lieutenant Swingers gave me a message for you.
Telegram?
Yeah, here it is.
I hope it's the one I've been waiting for.
About that special investigator?
Yes. It is.
I sure hope we can get someone that will find out who's causing all our troubles.
I think we will.
You're tearing up the message.
That's right, Bill. I don't want anyone to see this.
Is there a car seal hawk coming here?
We've had police around here, Bill. They couldn't learn a thing.
That's what I thought.
The man who's coming here is different.
You know, Mr. Powell, the more I think of it, the more I'm convinced that there's organized sabotage going on. I was talking to one of the syndicates who investigated the death of that engineer back at John's Gap.
Gallagher was one of the best pig maulers we had. I hated to lose him.
The arrow that killed him wasn't fired from any Indian bow. It was run into him like a knife.
Yes, I know.
The detective could tell that by the nature of the wound.
Bill,
The wreck of that supply train was blamed on Indians. But the footprints showed that white men caused it. The fire we had last week was blamed on Indians. But that fire was started with coal oil. The Indians don't use it. I tell you, it's not Indians that cause most of our trouble.
And I agree, sir.
There's no telling how far things will go if we don't find out who's guilty and put a stop to it. I'm counting on the... Well, I'll call him the special investigator.
When'll he be here?
I don't know.
Hey, Bill! Hey, Mr. Powell!
Here comes Cabby Norton.
He's been riding hard.
Mighty scared up about stuff.
Bill! Mr. Powell! I got him. Why, thunderation, I got the critter that's been making all the trouble for this here circus. Yes, sirree, I trapped him all by myself. Single-handed, that's what I done, and without firing a shot.
Oh, wait a minute, Cabby. Wait a minute. Stop blowing smoke.
He come right up to the house as bold as brass, that's what he did. And he was double heeled. But I corralled the varmint to bet your life I did.
My house?
Yeah.
Who are you talking about?
The masked man.
You mean to say a masked man rode up to Mr. Powell's house?
That's what I'm telling you. I lit out the front door fast and whipped around the house with my hog leg handy. I got the drop on two guns while he stood pounding on the door. He sure was one surprise, critter. Yes, sirree.
What did he say?
He asked if this was your house, and I said it was. Then I made him take off his guns and go into the woodshed. I got him locked in there right now.
He's there now?
That's what I'm telling you.
Bill, I think he's the special investigator I've been waiting for.
What?
Get your horse and follow me.
Right.
I'll wait for you near the spur line.
All right.
Get up there.
The end of track had extended several miles beyond the town. It was 15 minutes before Jim Powell, accompanied by Bill McGuire and Gabby, reined up at the temporary shack that served as home for the boss and his daughter. Powell opened the door, then halted. A masked man sat in a chair tilted against the opposite wall.
If your name is Powell, I've been waiting for you.
He got out. He got out of the woodshed.
I'm taking it easy. And don't go for that gun.
Look, a redskin. Mr. Powell, this...
Otto left me out of the woodshed. He arrived a few minutes after I did.
But who are you?
This Bill McGuire?
That's my name.
I've heard a lot about you, McGuire. It's too bad the Union Pacific doesn't have more like you.
Who are you?
I had a telegram about you, but I've got to be sure I'm not dealing with an imposter.
My horse responds to the name of Silver. He's outside.
Silver.
And here's a letter signed by an official in Washington.
Good. This does it.
I think I know something about your problem. An engineer has been murdered. The supply train has been wrecked. There's been a fire. A number of minor incidents. All of which were supposed to have been caused by Indians.
Say, how do you know so much?
I've been close to the Union Pacific since ground was broken in Omaha.
You have?
Yes. Now, Tonto and I inspected the scene of the train wreck. We found very good footprints of the men who put the logs on the track.
Our cinder dick made sketches of those footprints. There was a hobnail pattern on the boots.
Now, look here, boss. It's about time you let me know who this man is.
McGuire, haven't you ever heard of the Lone Ranger?
The Lone Ranger?
Miss Mary.
Mary.
I just got back from the store. Is this really the Lone Ranger?
Sakes alive, the Lone Ranger.
This is my daughter, Mary.
How do you do, Miss Mary?
How do you do?
Mister, some man or group of men is making trouble. And the only clue is the footprint made by a hobnail boot.
Well, that's better than nothing. How don't I look around town and see what we can find?
You'll have to look fast. We're expecting the payroll train sometime tomorrow. When it gets here, we'll move the town to the new end of track.
We'll see what we can learn between now and the time the payroll train arrives. You'll hear from us.
Bill remained with the Pauls for some time after the Lone Ranger and Tonto had left. It was after dark when he went to the small shack that served as his living quarters. As he closed the door, he had a strange feeling that he was not alone in the room. Then something jabbed him in the back, and a low voice growled.
This is a gun at your back.
Why?
Don't raise your voice and don't make a fast move.
Turn slow, McGuire.
Who are you? What's the idea? What do you want here in my place?
You don't know it, huh?
No, I don't. You're dressed like railroad men, but I never saw you before.
You sure you didn't?
Not that I know of. What's the idea of holding a gun on me? If you don't recognize us, Marker, I guess we're safe.
Shaving off our whiskers made a big difference.
What's the idea?
We understand that your railroad is looking for the gent that wore some hobnailed boots. Like those over there on the floor.
What? Where did they come from?
We brought them here.
You're the ones that...
We're the ones that piled up the supply train.
Why, hold it! What are you doing here?
We came to leave those boots for one thing and to take you with us for another. You see, McGuire, you're taking a little trip with the two of us. The payroll train is going to be stuck up tomorrow, and you're going to get the blame for it.
Like fun, I don't hear the people.
That got him.
If I didn't hit him hard enough to kill him.
Ah.
Let's get out of here.
We will. Get him roped and gagged, and we'll throw him over the extra horse. Then we'll head east along the tracks. Now, this time tomorrow, the whole Union Pacific will be looking for Bill McGuire. If he's found, he'll hang. Only we'll see to it that he's not found.
The curtain falls on the first act of our Lone Ranger story. Before the next exciting scenes, please permit us to pause for just a few moments. Now to continue our story. It was mid-morning when a locomotive and a caboose, the combination known to railroad men as a caboose bounce, moved west along the track. The engineer watching the track ahead saw two men with their hands raised high.
Take a look out there, Sam. Looks like a couple of boys giving us the red bull. I'd better stop. There might be trouble up ahead. It looks like they belong. Maybe they just want to look up to the end of the track. We'll soon know. Hi there. What's up?
Mr. Bandwagon?
I guess that's what you'd call it. Why'd you high sign it?
Any of the boys in the caboose?
No, why?
That's all we want to know. Let him have it, Marker. Right.
Hey, what's the idea? Oh, my goose. Oh.
Make sure of them.
Meanwhile, near the end of track, Tonto came into camp at a fast gait. The Lone Ranger knew that something had happened. He leaped to his feet. What is it? What is it, Tonto?
Bill McGuire disappeared.
Tell me about it.
Him not report for work. Powell sent fella. Think maybe Bill sick.
Yes?
McGuire not sleeping house. Him gone. Men find hobnail.
Tonto, you mean they found
Like ones worn by crooks. Plenty fellas think McGuire crook.
But that's out of the question.
That's what Powell say. There's plenty excitement.
Where is Powell?
Of him and them the track. All fellow there. Manhunt gets started.
I can't go there wearing this mask. Give me a hand, Tonto. I'll get into a disguise. Someone's trying to frame McGuire, and we can't let them get away with it.
I know how you feel about it, Powell. McGuire's been your best friend.
Bill McGuire's the man I'm going to marry.
I'm sorry, Miss Powell, but
Here, Peters. Those boots don't prove a thing.
Don't prove it. They match the footprints we found where the supply train was wrecked. I'll stake my reputation as a detective on that.
Anyone could have put them in Bill's house.
My daughter is right.
Mr. Powell, I've got to act on evidence as I find it. If you ask me, I'd say that McGuire skipped out.
So, Dad, look at that white horse.
Thank goodness. What do you mean by that?
Dad, that man in the saddle. He's a stranger.
I've got to organize a manhunt, Powell. Whether you like it or not, we've got to find McGuire. Find him? Of course we've got to find him.
Easy, big fellow. I heard about some boots that were found. Did they match up?
Peters seems to think so.
Who's this?
A friend of mine, Peters.
I haven't seen you around town.
I just came from the east.
Well, what are you waiting for, Peters? Get the men organized. Find my assistant.
I'll get to it right away. He's got a few questions to answer.
I didn't recognize you at first. You look like one of the railroad hands.
The mask would have caused questions. I put on a disguise.
You heard what happened?
Yes. I was looking around McGuire's house.
The detective already made a search for footprints.
Thought I may find something your cinder dick has missed.
Hey, boss, this is Bill, Mikey. What about our money?
You'll be paid, boys. Now take it easy. Are you running this coffee pot alone? Where's your fireman? I haven't seen you before. Are you new?
Yes, sir. I had to take the run when the regular engineer got sick in Omaha. And I wish I'd never done it.
What happened?
We saw Bill McGuire stand alongside the track, signaling for us to stop.
Bill McGuire?
Yes,
Go on.
I stopped, figuring he wanted to lift to the end of the track. Stepped aboard, and without warning, he clouded me with the barrel of his six-gun.
Oh, not Bill McGuire.
Miss, I sure know McGuire when I see him.
You're on. Then what?
When I come to, there was no one around. I looked in the buggy, and there was a fireman on the floor.
In the caboose?
Yes. He's still there. Deader than a mackerel with a couple of bullets through the head. He must have put up a fight trying to save the payroll cash.
You mean the money's gone?
Every day.
I don't believe a word of it. Bill is neither a thief nor a killer.
Well, he better be found. I want my say. I won't work until it's
Plans for moving the town were canceled, and all work was suspended for the day so the workers could join in the manhunt. The engineer was questioned at great length, but he stuck to his story. At sunset, the Lone Ranger joined Tonto in the camp near town.
Tonto, there's just one thing wrong with the story that man tells.
And what's that?
Bill McGuire is no crook. Nothing could make him kill and rob.
And what you do now?
I'm going to take off this disguise and put my mask on.
Need help?
The engineer backed the engine along the tracks. He showed us where the robbery is supposed to have taken place.
Footprints there?
The ground was too hard to show them.
Yes.
Well, thanks. Aside from Powell, every man in the outfit thinks McGuire is a crook.
Oh, that's bad.
Tonto, the thing was well planned. Now McGuire is blamed for everything that's happened on this job. He'll be blamed for everything that happens in the future. Unless my plan succeeds.
And what you plan?
Mask, please.
Here.
Oh, thanks.
Here, gun belt, too.
Oh, thanks, Tonto. That engineer told the truth. McGuire is a crook. If McGuire is not a crook, the engineer lied.
You know McGuire not crook.
Yes. I know that the man who calls himself an engineer named Smith isn't alone in this scheme.
Him in town?
He'll spend the night in the caboose. It'll be dark by the time we get there. Oh, steady, David.
Start now?
Yes, not up. I'll outline our plan while we ride. Steady, big fella.
Get him up. Come on.
Darkness shrouded the caboose that stood alone on a temporary spur. Easy, boy. Steady. Easy, fella. The darkness concealed the horsemen that reined up nearby. One of the two dismounted and proceeded on foot. He stepped aboard the small car and tapped on the door. The car was lighted by a single oil lamp.
Well, now, what do you... Mask.
Back up.
Now, wait, who... Hey, put that gun down.
This is one more little job that McGuire will have to account for.
One more... What do you mean?
You know what I mean. Did you think you'd get a cut on that payroll cash?
Listen, wait a minute. Put the gun down. Listen to me.
Someone coming. But everyone was in town.
Wait.
Wait, don't shoot.
Can't waste time talking. Take it.
No, don't.
Rocky, standing inside the caboose, heard the horse come to a halt, then stop and fade away.
Must have gone after that masked man. Still alive. He missed me. Of all the dirty double-crossing tricks, he won't get away with it.
Along the right-of-way, there were a number of crude shacks that had been built and then abandoned as the crew and the end of track moved westward. 2 men occupied one of these shacks. One was tightly bound and the other heavily armed.
I don't know why you rats don't kill me the same as you did the engineer and fireman.
Orders. We're following orders, McGuire, and you should be glad of it. You're not alive because I want to sit here on guard duty.
Whose orders?
You got to tell all I know?
Why am I alive?
Oh, I'll tell you, McGuire. Figure on doing a lot of things to that there railroad.
You've already started some fires and wrecked a supply train and stolen a payroll and killed several men. Isn't that enough?
Boss don't think so.
Oh, and you are the one.
Oh, smart, eh? Got me to admit them things. Well, knowing that won't help you none. You'll be blamed for all of them. And you'll be blamed for the rest of the things that are going to happen.
Mr. Powell won't believe anything against me.
No, but everyone else will. And if Powell sticks up for you, he'll get in bad with the men. You see, McGuire, you're going to write some letters and notes that'll make sure you're the one that suspected a thing.
Oh, no, I'm not.
We'll see about that. The boss figures a man like you would do near anything to save a girl he loves.
Why, you dirty rat.
No use struggling, McGuire. Them ropes won't give.
Yeah, if I ever get free,
You won't. Someone raining up. Must be one of my pals. There it is. It's Rocky.
Martha.
What are you doing here?
Any trouble here?
No, why?
Anyone been here?
No.
Well, listen. We're being double-crossed.
Double-crossed?
Yeah. Maybe the boss is afraid of us. Maybe he figures we know too much.
What are you getting at?
He sent a gunslinger to drill me.
What?
It's true. Tall masked hombre. He'd have had me if someone hadn't come by and rushed his aim. He had to hightail.
Well, of all that dirty double-crossing skunks, that skinflint probably figures it's cheaper to pay us off with bullets instead of cash.
He won't get away with it. We've got the cash from the payroll and we're keeping it.
Why?
Let's clear out of it while we got the chance.
Well, I'm all for it, but what about McGuire?
Give him the same as the others. I'll take care of
Now,
it.
hold on. If we leave him dead with all those ropes on him, the law will know he's not the one that's made all the trouble.
I don't care what the law thinks. You'll get so far from here that the law won't matter. Sorry, McGuire, but you got to get it.
Hey, Rocky, that window.
You! All right, don't kill him, bomb is smashed. Don't shoot me again.
Throw down that gun.
I did it. Down, don't shoot. I give up. Oh, Mr. Paul, I'm sure glad to see you.
Who are these men?
They're the ones that made all that trouble. They take orders from someone higher up.
I'll take charge of them.
They captured me last night and left hobnail boots in my place. I suppose you found them.
Yes. And McGuire, I fell for their scheme. I suspected you.
Today they killed the engineer and fireman on the pay train.
Yes, the fireman's body was on board. There you are, Bill.
Yeah, thanks. I'll show you where they buried the engineer as well as the cash they stole. But, boss, how did you find me?
It was the masked man's plan that did it. He made Rocky think he'd been double-crossed.
Where is he now?
Huh? Why, he was here. He came in with us.
He just left. I'd say he was going after the man higher up.
Yes. Well, I sure hope he gets his man. It looks to me like the Union Pacific Railroad is going to have plenty of need for the Lone Ranger.
Silver! Let's go, big fellow! Hold Silver!
During the construction of the Union Pacific Railroad, there had been one obstacle after another to overcome. Setbacks and accidents increased as the crews in charge of laying track moved westward. When the end of track was near Cheyenne, Wyoming, the Lone Ranger helped Jim Paul, the engineer in charge, expose a plot against the builders of the railroad.
And I want you to know that I speak for Major General Dodge as well as myself when I say that we're everlastingly grateful to you. I'm sure my daughter feels the same.
Dad, you know I do. If it hadn't been for this masked man, Bill McGuire would have been held for murder.
And I'd have lost the best foreman I ever had.
Please, Powell. I didn't stop at your house to receive thanks.
But you can't brush aside what you've done.
Won't you sit down and have some breakfast with us?
Oh, no, thanks, Mary. I'm on my way to meet Tonto in camp. I stopped to ask if the men in jail have had anything to say.
Marker and Rocky?
Yes.
Not yet. The sheriff's going to question them again this morning.
Some group has put up considerable money to make trouble.
But what group?
We don't know.
There was a lot of opposition in Congress before the railroad bill was passed.
Yes, and a lot of the ranchers are opposed to the railroad.
If we could only find out who hired Marker and his pal.
Well, perhaps you will. Those two are slated to hang. They might tell all they know in the hope of getting a prison term instead.
Let us hope so.
Oh, who'll attend the meeting?
Bill McGuire, my foreman, will be there with me. Also the sheriff.
Oh. No one else?
A lawyer by the name of Gregg. Jeremiah Gregg.
A lawyer?
Yes.
Is he to represent Marker and Rocky?
Oh, no. He simply volunteered his services to the sheriff. Thought he might be able to help.
Dad, it's 9 o'clock.
Great Scott. I've got to get over to the sheriff's office.
All right. I'll see you later.
Hi, boss.
Howdy. I'm sorry I'm late.
That's all right. McGuire and I have been questioning those two.
Boss, you don't know Mr. Gregg. Shake hands with my boss, Mr. Gregg. Mr. Powell, eh?
That.
Right glad to know you.
The same here. They tell me you're a lawyer, Gregg.
That's right.
Greg has been explaining to Rocky and Marker shooting unless they go on the side of the law and help us get the polecats that hired them direct the trains. We got nothing to say.
Rocky's right. We'll take our chances.
You'll hang if you don't talk. That's what'll happen to you.
Of course, we can give them no assurance that they'll not hang, even though they do turn state's evidence.
Who can't?
None of us can speak for the law.
Well, I can, and I will. I've got some weight around here. And I'll throw every ounce of it into getting those men a jail term instead of a hangman's rope.
Now, Mr. Powell, you know very well.
Gregg, are you here to help or hinder us?
To help, of course. My services are entirely voluntary.
You're the one they call Rocky, right?
Right. What's it to you?
You and Marker were caught hands down. We've got evidence to prove you're both guilty of murder. Now, that's hanging evidence, and you know it. Well, be smart. Save your necks and talk. Who hired you?
You crooks can take my word for it. Powell knows what he's talking about.
Of course, gentlemen, life in prison is not much better than hanging.
Gregg, you shut up.
I was merely going to observe that these men may refuse to talk because they feel confident that the man, or men who hired them, will see that they're broken out of prison if they remain loyal.
They don't stand a chance.
Are you going to talk or not?
You know the answer to that, Powell. Sheriff, I don't feel so good. What's the matter with you, Rocky? What's ailing you?
Look at him. He's gone white as a sheet.
I don't know. Sheriff, I feel something's wrong.
He's sick.
I don't feel right either. Sheriff, something's wrong with me. Things are going in circles.
Get some water.
Right.
Rocky, Marker, you're both sick. Look at them.
The room's going around. I can't see straight. I'm ailing.
Hurry with that water.
Someone go for the doctor.
I'll go get him.
Powell, see what you can do for Rocky.
Right.
Take it easy. I'll have the water in a second.
Here, Marker, I'll help you. Lean on me.
Poison. That's it. Poison. Breakfast this morning. Bad taste.
Steady, don't try to talk.
You, Gregg. You poison.
Sheriff, the water.
There it is.
Too late for Rocky. He's dead.
Gregg, how about that one? How about Marker?
Sheriff, I'm afraid he's dead, too.
The morning was well advanced when Jeremiah Gregg, the lawyer, came to the end of track where Jim Powell supervised the big job.
Hi there, Gregg. What are you doing here?
My doctor just finished his examination. I thought I'd bring you the report on those prisoners.
Poisoned?
Yes.
How?
No one knows. The doctor thinks someone put poison in their breakfast.
Does the sheriff have any idea who?
No, the breakfast was brought over from the sheriff's house and left on his desk. It was there for half an hour before it was taken into the prisoners. Anyone could have stepped into the office and poisoned it.
No chance of finding the critter,
The sheriff says no. He was in and out of his office all morning. He doesn't know who could have been there.
Well, there's one thing sure. The polecat that hired those two is still around town.
That's obvious. Hi, boss! Hey, has McGuire been out for a ride?
He's been looking over the job up ahead.
I wanted to speak to you about that.
Yeah?
I had a...
Hey, boss!
Just a minute, Graydon. Let's see what the I want.
Yeah.
How does everything look, Bill?
Yeah, we're gonna need more tires pretty quick, boss.
I'm expecting another load when the supply train comes in tomorrow.
They get on the telegraph and check to make sure they'll be here, boss.
Ties are your problem, aren't they?
You're doggone right. The entire job of building a railroad will take over 6 million ties. They've got to be brought in from Omaha.
From Omaha? Why, how's that?
Well, there's nothing but soft cottonwood around here, not much of that.
Powell, perhaps I can help.
You?
Yes. You see, I know some friendly Indians.
Friendly Indians.
Oh, there are some friendly ones. And I think you could trade with them.
I'd sure like to get into trading with the Indians. It'd help a lot if we'd get friendly with them. So they'd be on our side. Wouldn't it, Bill?
It sure would, boy.
Fine, splendid. I know some Indians north of here. Chief Red Eagle.
Cheyennes?
Yes, but as I say, they're friendly. And I happen to know that they have a supply of heavy timber that you could use as ties.
Where did they get them?
Well, you can thank me for that.
You?
Yes. The last time I was talking to Red Eagle, I suggested that his people cut a stand of timber in their valley and sort of trim it to size in the hope of trading with you.
My son to Greg, maybe you're all right.
Well, thank you, McGuire. Of course, I don't know how much of a supply Red Eagle's people have on hand, but if they see you are willing to trade, they might be of considerable help.
What if we get to trade with? They can't use money.
And we can't give them liquor.
Rifles.
What? Rifles? Are you out of your mind?
Now, calm
The
down.
Indians are bad enough with tomahawks and bows and arrows. Let them get their hands on rifles and we'll be licked.
Oh, old rifles, my friend. Old rifles that are worthless. Rifles that are without ammunition. I'm sure you can get together 15 or 20 old flintlocks. The Indians would never know the difference.
They'd know they couldn't fire them.
Just leave that to me. Right now, the Indians have profound respect for your rifles. They do anything to get some. Let them have some useless ones, and I'll talk to Red Eagle and explain that they're not Indian weapons, that they are good medicine only when the white men use them. Your next trade can consist of blankets and food, perhaps horses. And, of course, if you bring a shipment of corn from the east, the Indians would be delighted.
Boss, it's worth a try. I know where I can pick up 4 or 5 old flintlocks.
Go ahead, Greg. You talk to Red Eagle.
And you'll get rifles together?
Yeah.
Get them in a case, a wooden case, and have them ready.
It was later in the day when the Lone Ranger talked to Paul and heard the latest developments.
So that's the deal.
Greg told you Red Eagle was friendly?
Yes.
I see.
You know this country better than any man. What do you think about it?
I don't know what to think.
Shall I go ahead?
Yes. Get the old flintlocks without ammunition and have them ready. We'll see what happens.
Hey there, Silver. Easy, big fella. Where are you going now?
Back to camp. I want to see what Tonto thinks.
Come on, Silver.
It's dangerous, Tonto. We've got to know the facts.
Oh, you start right way.
You know where to find Red Eagle?
Me find them. Get things tight and let me go.
The last I heard of Red Eagle, he had a war party of over 200 Indians made up of renegades from all parts of this area.
That's right.
Become one of them. Keep in touch with me. You know where to meet me.
No.
Good luck to you, Tonto.
Get off, scout. Tonto rode away from the Lone Ranger's camp near the end of track. He was not the only one that left the community that day. Jeremiah Gregg disappeared soon after noon and rode north for the better part of an hour to meet a man who waited in a solitary camp.
Hi, Mr. Gregg. Waiting for you. Slim, I'm ready to use you and that wagon load of ties you brought.
Good.
I'm going to use both you and the Indians. Now listen. Jim Powell thinks the Indians have cut some railroad ties. He thinks Red Eagle's men are friendly.
Friendly?
You go talk to Red Eagle. Tell him to meet Powell and take along a wagon load of ties as samples. He can offer Powell a whole lot of ties, for which Powell will give a case of rifles.
Powell's giving away rifles? He loco?
Useless old flintlocks. But I'll arrange a switch. Red Eagle will actually get the newest Army carbines.
Yeah, but where's Red Eagle to get the rest of the railroad ties he's supposed to deliver?
From the supply train that's coming from the east.
Oh, yeah.
He can stop the train at Carson's Bend.
And he'll have rifles for the attack. Yeah, it's pretty smart.
Now, you make Red Eagle think there'll be more rifles when he shows that he can deliver the goods.
You rob the train to get the ties.
Yeah, that should start trouble. It'll wipe out the Union Pacific outfit. Powell himself said that if those Indians had rifles, they'd be invincible. Well, we'll see that they have rifles. The rest is up to you.
The curtain falls on the first act of our Lone Ranger story. Before the next exciting scenes, please permit us to pause for just a few moments. Now to continue our story. Jim Powell and Bill McGuire spent the afternoon canvassing the people of the community and buying from them old flintlock rifles. They acquired nearly 24 of the weapons and brought them to the caboose of the work train.
Fix this one so it will never be fired again. How about that one, Bill?
I'll have this so it'll be out of commission in just a minute, boss. There. That does it.
I'll bet some of these rifles were used in the Revolution.
I wouldn't say that, Mary, but some are mighty old.
Won't those Indians be angry when they learn they can't fire the rifles?
Gregg said he can handle that angle.
Here's hope.
Well, his idea's worth trying anyway.
We're not going to need ties that bad, boss. They're shipping plenty of them from Omaha.
It's not the ties so much, Bill, as the idea of making friends with the Indians.
No.
I'd like to establish trade with them. It might end all our trouble. Now, let's get that rifle case, huh?
Right. Here it is.
Put these old flintlocks in there, and we'll close it up and have it ready for Red Eagle when he comes with the ties.
Right.
Dad, what about those new rifles that you took out of the box?
I'll keep them here in the caboose until they're needed.
Some of the boys could use new rifles.
I've been promised a lot of them.
You have?
Yes. General Stevenson over at Fort Russell said he'd see that we got some.
Ah, that'll be great, boss.
The case of rifles was made ready and left on the floor of the caboose, while the new rifles that had been taken from the case were put into a locker. Then Jim Powell and his daughter took Bill McGuire to their house for supper. They little supposed that Union Pacific's most formidable enemy in the person of Jeremiah Gregg was waiting nearby. He sneaked into the caboose and quickly threw back the lid of the rifle case. It took but a few moments to restore the Army carbines to the chest and throw the useless rifles into the locker.
There, that does it. Now the ammunition.
With the rifles, the scheming lawyer put many rounds of ammunition, then closed the lid of the chest and went away. after dark when the Lone Ranger, waiting in his small camp near the end of track, heard the familiar hoofbeats of Tonto's paint horse Scout.
Riding hard. Steady there, Silver. Tonto must have some information for me.
Oh, Scout, oh, fella. Oh, fella. Oh.
What is it, Tonto?
There's plenty of trouble coming.
From Red Eagle?
That's right.
Go ahead and talk, Tonto. I'll saddle up.
You say Indians got timber for railroad.
That's what Powell understood, Steady Silver.
And that's not true.
No.
White man come into Cheyenne village. Him got big wagon and heavy load of timber.
A white man?
That's right. Timber cut for railroad ties. Him talk to Red Eagle plenty long. Tell Red Eagle him get good rifle.
Red Eagle isn't supposed to know the difference between good rifles and old flintlocks. You know the name of the white man?
Him named Slim Northcott.
Northcott. Never heard of him, Steady Boy.
Well, him got good rifle. New rifle. And him show Red Eagle how to use it.
He did?
That's right. Red Eagle show many other Indians. Then Slim tell Red Eagle train from Omaha come tomorrow.
I see.
Him say Indians stop train, get plenty heavy timber, trade for more rifle.
There we are. Silver's all ready. We better go and see Powell and find out more about this deal. Come on, Tonto. Steady, big fella. Get up, Silver.
In the meantime, the arrival of a number of Indians with their chief attracted many people to the end of track, where several bonfires had been lighted. Red Eagle brought with him a wagon loaded with heavy timbers that might be used for ties. It was a friendly meeting between Jim Powell and his crew on one hand, and Red Eagle and his followers on the other. The ties were stacked beside the track, and a case of rifles moved from the caboose to the wagon. As the Indians departed, Powell gripped the hand of Jeremiah Gregg.
Gregg, it worked out just like you said. Good work.
Well, thank you, Powell. Thank you.
I want to shake your hand, too, Greg. I've got to admit I didn't like you at first, but you just arranged a first-class deal.
Thanks, McGuire.
Wouldn't it be splendid if we could be friendly with all the Indians?
This may be the start of a better understanding.
I'm just wondering, Greg, if those redskins will be satisfied when they find they've got rifles that can't be fired.
You leave that to me, McGuire. I'll talk to them.
What's that?
McGuire! It's over that way.
That sounds like the new carbine.
It is the new carbine.
Look over there. Look at the flashes. It's the Indians.
It can't be the Indians. They've got no rifles.
We just gave them some.
But those rifles can't be fired. Bill, did we make sure not... Hey, where'd Bill go?
He's in there, Dad. He just went into the caboose.
Those redskins are keeping it up. What are they shooting at?
I can see the flashes, boss. They're firing into the air. Hey, boss. Look at this, boss.
Look at that, Pound. The old flintlocks are in the caboose. The new carbines are gone. Someone switched rifles and the Indians got the new carbines.
As the Lone Ranger and Tonto reined up, the distant rifle fire subsided, but the agitation of the crowd increased. Bill stood at the door of the caboose, waving an ancient flintlock and shouting,
Someone double-crossed us. Someone took these out of the case and put the new carbines back in.
It took but an instant for the masked man to grasp the situation. He leaped from the saddle and hit the ground running. A few fast strides brought him to the side of Jeremiah Gregg.
I want you, Gregg.
Oh, let me go. Let me go, do you hear?
Get into that caboose. You too, pal. We'll find out about this.
Make this masked man let me go. Boys, this masked man's an outlaw.
This man's all right, Gregg. You'll do as he says.
Get up those steps. Get into that car.
You can't.
All right, in you go.
What's that? Why you got Greg?
Learn what he knows. Close that door.
Right.
Now, Gregg, start talking.
I don't know what you mean.
You lied when you said the Indians had timber. They got that timber from a white man.
White man.
What's that?
Slim Northcott met Red Eagle. You lied, Gregg. What's behind it? Who switched rifles?
Oh, let me go. You can't do this to me.
Who switched rifles?
Hey, look at Greg's face. Darned if he don't look like...
you?
No,
The truth, Gregg. While you're at it, tell all you know about the plan to attack the supply train.
Attack the supply train?
Where?
When?
Tomorrow at Carson's Bend.
Oh, open the door. Come in.
What is it?
Indians, stick your head out and you'll hear them. They're going on the warpath.
They'll be riding for the bend.
There won't be more than 4 or 5 men on that supply train.
You better get the crew together and head east.
Well, we'd better.
Put ropes on Gregg. We'll deal with him later.
No. You heard what the boss
I'll
said.
get things organized. Hey, boys! Those redskins are heading for Carson's Bend to waylay the supply train. We're going to help fight them off. Find the fire, boy. Come to stoke up the galloper. Hook in a couple of flats for those that can't crowd into this buggy.
Here's the diamond cracker.
Good. Hog up right away. We're heading east as fast as possible.
As fast as possible, a train was made up and the locomotive fired. Every available man climbed on board. In the caboose, Jeremiah Gregg lay tightly bound. The Lone Ranger and Tonto stood beside their horses watching as the train got underway.
Tonto, those men won't have a chance against Red Eagle.
That's right. Jim got close to 200 Indians.
It would be an uneven battle, even though the Indians didn't have any rifles.
That's right.
Well, there they go. Tonto, they're riding southeast.
That's where Fort Russell is.
General Stevenson's our only hope. Steady, big fella. Easy a minute. Hit him up. Out.
It was early morning when the supply train from Omaha reached Carson's Bend. The men in the cab saw the rails blocked and 50 men waiting next to the tracks.
What's the matter, boss? What happened?
Jim Paul stepped forward, but before he could speak, war cries broke out to the north.
That seems to be telling you. Look over there. They're scared. They're coming this way fast. Break out the rifles, men. Open fire as soon as they're in range.
They're riding in a circle around us.
And making it smaller all the time.
Our ammunition won't hold out long.
They've got it. We're outnumbered about 5 to 1.
Keep firing, boys. Maybe they'll lick us. We've got to know they were in a fight.
Aim for the ones that have got the rifles.
A number of the trainmen had fallen, and so had a lot of Indians, but ammunition was running low. Jim Powell knew that it was just a matter of time. He knew that his valiant little band could not hope to drive off the savage Cheyennes. The rifle fire diminished.
And out of cartridges. Anyone got extra cartridges?
It'll be hand to hand in a few minutes, boys. Use your rifles as thrust.
Here they come. They're charging straight at us. Now it'll be hand to hand.
Stand ready.
Here they come.
At closer range, the Indians used bows and arrows with telling effect. Over half of the men of the Union Pacific had fallen with wounds, and many of those who remained standing had been scratched by arrows. And then a bugle sounded to the south. The fighting men were too absorbed to hear the clear tones that rang out across the plain.
Hey, boys! Boys, look to the south.
Soldiers! Look out up, come!
And look who's riding in the lead.
The masked man!
He's the one that brought him. Boys, we've got a chance. Half a minute more and the army will be here to take over.
Half a minute, nothing, boss. They've already opened fire.
That does it, boys. That does it. Those Redskins are clearing out.
Oh! Look at them, boys. Look at them travel. Coyotes to save their lives.
We're ready to start back to the end of track, but before we go...
Please, pal. No, thanks.
But if you hadn't brought the army...
Every one of us wants to do all he can to help you and the Union Pacific push through to California.
Will you ride back to the end of track with us?
Tonto and I'll ride our horses. We'll meet you there. Come on, Tonto.
Come.
David Powell. Hey, boss.
What is it, Bill?
It's about Jeremiah Gregg.
The Lone Ranger's going to ask us, help us question him when we get back to the end of track.
No, boss. No one's going to question Gregg. Those new carbines have mighty high power.
What do you mean, Bill?
One of the bullets went clean through the side of the caboose to get Gregg.
He's dead?
Just as dead as Rocky and Martha.
That masked man counted on getting a lot of information out of Jeremiah Gregg. His death is going to make things a whole lot harder for the Lone Ranger.
Silver! Let's go, big fellow! I'll Silver!
Jim Paul, in charge of laying the Union Pacific Railroad tracks into the west, had aged perceptibly in a few weeks. His troubles had begun with an Indian attack on a grading train near Cheyenne, and after that the obstacles were multiplied. Time after time, bands of Indians swept down to attack the railroad workers, tear up the track, burn buildings, kill stock, and tear down telegraph wires. Despite all this, Paul and his track-laying gangs fought valiantly to maintain the schedule. They met each attack with matter-of-fact courage, and when it was repulsed, put down their rifles and picked up their tools. It wasn't savage Indians that worried Powell. It was a far more sinister danger, a menace that worked secretly to plot against the railroad's progress.
If I could only put my finger on it.
I know how you feel, Jim. Hard to fight something you can't see.
It was a caboose bounce, a train composed only of an engine and a caboose that moved westward on new rails. One man rode with Jim Powell. He sat near the pot-bellied stove in the caboose. His face was disguised, and his clothing was that of a trainman. There was nothing about him to indicate that he was the Lone Ranger.
Do you know anything about this plot that you haven't told me?
Well, I know that powerful interests are opposed to the railroad.
It could be politicians in Washington.
Oh, it could be, yes. It might also be an organization of cattlemen who don't want civilization to break up the open range.
There must be a lot of money in back of the outfit.
I'm sure there is.
You talked to a couple of men while you were in Julesburg.
I talked to a very good friend of mine there. A man who knows this part of the country as well as anyone.
Do I know him?
Oh, I don't think so. His name is Enwall. Charles Enwall.
Did you learn anything from him?
I wish you hadn't asked me that.
Why?
I don't want to alarm you, Jim. A warning may mean nothing.
What warning?
A man named Fabian went through Julesburg the other day on his way to the end of track. He flashed a big roll of money.
Who's Fabian?
He's a confidence man and a schemer.
We've had a lot of that kind. Hangers-on who move with the end-of-track community and try to take the pay away from the railroad crews. They don't worry me. My boys can take care of themselves.
Very well.
But wait. There's something else about Fabian. What is it?
Let's wait and see how things work out.
Tell me. I must know.
Fabian asked questions about you.
What kind of questions?
He wanted to know if you had a family with you at the end of track.
Just my daughter and, of course, old Gabby Norton. I consider him a member of the family.
Oh, I'm not concerned with Gabby Norton.
It's Mary. You think this man Fabian will try to hit me through my daughter?
Worrying about it won't help, Jim. There's nothing we can do before we reach the end of track.
I don't see how Crooks can do anything now. General Stevenson has detailed soldiers to help protect our work.
Yes, I know.
Just the same, I want to get there as fast as possible. I'm going to speak to the engineer. That high wheeler can get more speed out of this old coffee pot. I wish we had a glory hunter like Gallagher at the throttle.
The buildings at the end of track were, for the most part, light in weight, so they could be periodically loaded onto flat cars and moved westward as the track advanced. There were houses, shops, and cafes. It was in one of the cafes that the man named Fabian sought out Slim Northcott at a corner table.
Mind if I sit down?
Great Scott. It's you, Fabian.
Right.
Oh, sit down, sit down. When'd you get here?
This morning?
Did you hear what happened to Greg?
Yes. News travels fast along the railroad. Telegraph's a wonderful thing.
Greg owed me money, too.
I understand he'd been captured before he was killed.
Yeah, they had him tied up in the caboose during the Indian attack. Stray bullet got him.
Does anyone suspect that you were working with Greg?
No.
In that case, you can work with me.
So far, it's been pretty unlucky for the ones that oppose the railroad.
I know.
And I can tell you why.
You can?
Yeah.
Why?
You may not believe this, but it's true. I know it's true. I got it straight. There's a critter that's working with Powell. He's called the Lone Ranger. I don't see nothing to laugh about.
Lone Ranger. I've heard a lot of stories about him. He's overrated.
He is, huh?
Far overrated. And even if he weren't, he could do little against the plan I have in mind.
What's your plan?
Have you noticed this community?
Noticed it? What do you mean?
The community at the end of track. The buildings and tents and everything that's in them. Chairs, tables, bar, and liquor in this cafe. The barber shop across the street and everything in there. In the restaurant next door.
Straw with its stock of clothing, smokes, blankets, everything.
What about it?
It would take a great many trips on tracks that are already taxed to capacity to replace everything that's here. In fact, I doubt if the settlement could be replaced without a great deal of trouble and delay.
Get to the point, Fabian. What are you driving at?
The destruction of this community.
Huh?
Complete and total destruction by fire.
Why, you could never get away with it.
No?
Haven't you noticed all the soldiers around town? You can thank that Lone Ranger for them. It's through him they were brought here.
There could be twice as many soldiers. That wouldn't interfere with my plan.
Yeah, well, count me out. I don't care what I do as long as the cash is good and the risk isn't too great.
There's very little risk in my
As
plan.
near as I can see, it's suicide. I'm not setting fire to any town, no, sir. Not with the Lone Ranger and the United States Army around.
The Indians are going to start the fire.
Red Eagle and the Cheyennes? Not a chance, Fabian. They've been mighty subdued since the Army drove them off and Greg got killed.
They'll not be subdued when we finish with them. Now listen, Slim. I'll outline my scheme, then you can decide whether or not there's too much danger for you. Jim Powell has a daughter.
Yeah, name's Mary. What about her?
They have a house here, haven't they?
They got a house and a caretaker by the name of Gabby Norton. Gabby watches over that girl like a brood hen over chicks. Only time Gabby's not around is when Mary's with her sweetheart, Bill McGuire. Now, Fabian, go on, tell me the rest.
Are you through thinking of obstacles?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm ready to listen to you.
Very well. And here's what we're going to do.
Slim Northcott listened attentively to the plans as Fabian outlined them, then nodded slowly as Fabian pointed out two men who sat at a table across the room, men who had already been lined up to help. It was about a half an hour later when Northcott rapped on the door of Powell's house.
Come right in. Come in, make yourself up.
Oh, looks like I'm not the one you're expecting.
Well, being as it's time for noonday chuck, I figured Bill McGuire'd be coming around. Maybe he will, can't tell, but what's on your mind, stranger? You didn't rap on the door to hear about Bill McGuire.
You must be Gabby Norton.
That I am, yes, sir. Norton's my own name, and Gabby's the one I earned. But I don't run off at the mouth like I used to.
I hope Miss Powell's here.
Oh, you do you? Well, now look here, stranger. If you got any ideas about sparking Mary Powell, you just
I've got a message from her father.
You don't say.
What is it, Gabby?
Oh, how do you do? You Miss Powell?
Yes.
I was just telling Norton I have a message from your father.
Oh. Has anything happened? Is there something wrong? Where is he?
Here's the message.
Let me read it first.
I'll take it, Gabby.
He wants you and Norton to meet him at Windy Gulch.
Windy Gulch?
What in tarnation's he doing there?
That's pretty far south of the tracks.
Yeah, sure is.
According to this message, we're to go with you.
Yes, ma'am. I got some horses saddled and ready. You better start right away.
Why, Dad ratted, I was fixing dinner. It's most all cooked and ready to set out on the table.
I'm sorry, there won't be any time for that.
Oh, Dad ratted all.
Dad sent for us, Gabby. We better go.
Yes, I reckon so. I'll just set the victuals off the fire.
I'll be ready in just a moment.
I'll be waiting with the horses.
How long is it going to take us to get to Windy Gulch?
Couple of hours to do it.
I don't know why in tarnation Power wants me to go along. Fact is, I don't know why he wants either of us. It's downright mysterious, that's what it is. Let me look at that note again.
You don't need to look at that note. Now get aboard those horses and let's get traveling.
Mister, don't you rush me. I want to see that note.
Come on up.
A gun.
Hey, see here, mister.
Do what you're told. It goes for you, too, Mary. Get aboard that horse.
I don't think I
Do as you're told, or I'll put a bullet right through this old man.
No, don't shoot.
Wait. Wait, don't shoot.
Do as I say.
Now, I know there's something wrong. Powell didn't send that note at all.
Now, listen, you.
All right. I'm but getting aboard. Don't wave that gun so handy. Well, I'm in the saddle. Now what do we do?
I said we was going to Windy Gulch, and I meant it. Now get going.
Get up, boy.
Get up. Get up.
Soon after Mary and old Gabby rode south from the town, the man called Fabian approached the house. men were at his heels.
Boys, you know exactly what you're to do. I gave you your instructions.
Yeah, we know.
We're to make this place look like Indians have been here.
You better close the door.
Right.
Now then. Just a minute. I wonder where they keep the flour.
Looks like a flour sack in that lid.
Now, we will soon know. Flour? Yeah. I'll stand here holding it. Just the girl might have been. Let's see. She was startled by seeing a couple of Indians at the door. She dropped the sack like this.
Hey, look at it. Spilled all over the floor.
You two will leave a lot of footprints of those moccasins you're wearing. I'll leave this Indian feather on the floor as further evidence that Indians came here.
Oh, pretty slick, Fabian. Pretty slick of you.
Next, we want to make this room look like there's been a struggle. I'll spill this table and the dishes that are on it. Carry on, boys. Smash things up. This place has got to look like Gabby and the girl put up a fight to avoid capture by the Indians.
There's just one trouble, Fabian. They say that Slim Northcott...
Don't worry. They won't get a chance to tell anything. Now, go on. Smash things up.
All right. Kick it over. Smash it.
The curtain falls on the first act of our Lone Ranger story. Before the next exciting scenes, please permit us to pause for just a few moments. Now to continue our story. The short train of engine and caboose came to a halt. The Lone Ranger, still wearing his disguise as a railroad man, and Jim Powell stepped from the car to see all work stop. The workmen clutched rifles instead of tools. Bill McGuire, the foreman, hurried toward Powell, his tanned face flushed with anger.
Bill, what is it? What's the matter?
You're just in time, boss. We got to get horses for all the men. We've got to get Stevenson and the troopers and head north for the Indians.
Why?
Why? I'll tell you why.
Right.
They sneaked into town and captured Mary.
Captured Mary?
Yeah. I went to the house for dinner just like we planned. You should see the place, boss. It looks like a cyclone had struck.
I'm going to see it right now.
I'll go with you, boss. You boys go get horses and be ready to ride. I'll be with you in a few minutes.
Oh, McGuire, how do you know it was Indians who came to the house?
Here, this feather, this is one reason.
Well, let me see it.
That's an eagle feather, all right.
And that's not all. The sack of flour was spilled on the floor. There's moccasin footprints all over it.
I hope you didn't walk in and disturb the evidence.
I didn't need it. You can see everything from the doorway.
Missy, you said something about a man named Fabian.
Yes. He made inquiries about you. I think he's the one in back of this.
Fabian?
I don't think the Indians had anything to do with it.
Well, I think they did.
You better wait, Bill. See what this man has to say.
I have a friend named Tonto.
I know all about him. What of it?
He's still with Red Eagle's people.
Yes?
Hasn't Red Eagle learned that Tonto's on our side?
No. If Red Eagle had sent men to capture Mary, Tonto would have given warning. Furthermore, Red Eagle knows better than to send any Indians into town.
Red Eagle hates every one of us after that last skirmish.
That may be true, but he won't come here while the soldiers are around.
Mr. Powell, I'll go ahead with the train boys. You see the general and have him follow with the troopers. We'll show that Red Eagle a thing or two.
Let's examine the house first.
Here's the house.
Good.
The door's wide open, just how I left it. Look inside. You can see the flour spill all over the floor and marks and footprints.
I'll wait here at the door. Don't add any more footprints to those already there.
Gabby Norton's gone, too.
Was he with Mary?
Yeah.
Look how the place is wrecked. There must have been an awful struggle.
I doubt it.
You can doubt it all you want. I don't. Mary was captured by Indians. The feather and North moccasin prints prove it.
Just a minute, Bill.
Just a minute, nothing. I'm getting a horse and we're going gunning for Redskins.
But wait. Look at the footprints again. Those footprints prove that this is a frame-up.
Oh, you can save that for someone else. I'm on my way.
Now, wait a minute, Bill. Wait a minute. Listen to me.
Let go of my arm. Let go, do you hear? My girl's been carried off by Indians.
But she hasn't. It's not Indians.
The last time I'm telling you, let me go.
Bill, why don't you listen to this man?
I don't care who this man is. I'm not trusting anyone. Now let me go.
Fire, McGuire!
Oh!
Need to knock him out, but he's all wrong. You saw that room, Jim.
Yes, but...
There's supposed to have been a terrific struggle. If that was true, there would be footprints of Mary's shoes, as well as those of the moccasins.
That's so.
We go riding after Red Eagle's people. We'll do exactly what the Potters wanted us to do. That's why I had to stop McGuire.
But Mary, where is she? What's happened to her, Norton?
That's what we've got to find out. I think... Oh, look, Jim. Here comes Tonto.
Sure enough. Oh, fella. Ain't glad you're here.
Tonto, have you come from Red Eagle?
That's right. Him planned to make attack on town.
Attack the town? He wouldn't dare.
White man come, make powwow. Red Eagle listen.
Who was it?
Me not know.
What did they talk about, Tonto?
White man say everyone leave town, look for Red Eagle Indians in Valleys of North.
We would have left town if you hadn't stopped us.
Go on, Tonto.
Red Eagle tell all Indians, spread out, circle through hills, close in on town when no one hears.
Oh, McGuire's coming too.
Yes. Now, perhaps you'll listen to it. You can tell him what you've just learned, Jim.
But you...
Your daughter must be found. Otto, we think Mary and Gabby Norton have been captured and taken from the house. Study the footprints in the house.
Me savvy.
While you're doing that, I'll get Silver and get out of this disguise.
We'll wake up. Listen to
Oh, what hit me?
I did, Bill. I had to do it. Now, get to your feet and listen to what Jim has to tell you. You needn't go out after Red Eagle. He's coming here to you.
The Lone Ranger went on foot to his well-concealed camp at the edge of town. Working quickly, he removed the disguise from his face and threw off the clothing of a railroad man. He stuffed this into a saddlebag, then hurriedly got into his own clothes, fixed his mask across his eyes, and buckled on his gun belt. Then he saddled the great horse Silver.
Now we're ready, Silver. Those fellows found the trail. Ready, big fella? One, Silver! Oh, Silver, come on. Oh!
Give us, Bobby.
Yeah.
Look here. Tonto found plenty of tracks.
Easy, big fella. What have you found, Tonto?
Plenty tracks here in back of Powell House.
Hoof marks?
That right.
How many horses?
Me see 5.
They've got my daughter. They've got her.
Take it easy, Jim. All the horses are shod.
That right.
And we may be sure that Indians had nothing to do with this in spite of the moccasin footprints.
Feller who wear moccasin come here from house.
Yes, so I see.
Over here, tracks made by girl.
Not up. We're going to follow this trail.
I'm going with you. I've got my horse already.
Very well. Easy, big fella. One, Silver! Get him up, scout!
In the meantime, Bill McGuire and Jim Powell had discussed plans. Then they had talked to General Stevenson in charge of the soldiers in the town. While Powell set out with the Lone Ranger and Tonto, the foreman rejoined the railroad workers who were ready with horses and weapons.
All right, quiet down, boys. Quiet down and listen to me. The plans have been changed. I've already talked to General Stevenson. He says we can take Tonto's word for what's to happen. We're going to do the same as the soldiers. We're going to start north, but instead of going after the Indians, we're going to spread out and drift back here. We're going to give those Redskins the biggest surprise they ever had.
What about Mary Powell? Don't the Redskins have her?
No. She's been captured by white men.
How about going after them?
No, our job is to defend the town. Mary's trail is being followed by the Lone Ranger.
Following the trail left by Slim Northcott and the two who had helped him capture Mary and Gabby Norton was at first quite easy. The Lone Ranger made good time as he traveled south with Tonto and Jim Powell following. Then the ground became more broken, and there were places where hard rock made it almost impossible to follow the track. But the three pushed on in the general direction of Windy Gulch. Slim Northcott had told the truth about one thing. He had taken Mary and old Gabby to Windy Gulch.
See that they're well tied, boys. Get ropes around their feet as well as their hands.
Whatever you say, Slim.
Dad, Rabbit, there's no point in tying our feet.
We couldn't travel anywhere without a horse.
Shut up, Norton.
You might as well kill us now and be done with it.
Mary, I don't want to kill you.
Slim Northcutt, you can't do anything else, and you know it. If I get free to tell my father about this trick, he'll kill you. And if he doesn't, Bill McGuire will.
And if he don't, by Juniper, I will. For all the ornery, downright snakes, you're the lowest.
What do you expect to gain by this?
That's my affair.
Can't keep us here indefinitely.
I won't have to keep you long. Before sundown, the whole community at the end of the track will be in flames.
What? I don't believe it.
You don't have to believe it. This plan's worked out mighty careful. Everyone in town is going to be out hunting the Indians for catching you and Gabby. And while they're out, the Indians will come into town. How do you savvy our plan? There's no use struggling. You can't get out of those ropes.
And I reckon that'll hold her feet. How are you coming?
I got the old man tied.
We'll leave them right here, boys.
Leave him here?
Yeah. Go back to town and see how things work out. If there's a slip-up somewhere and Fabian or we get captured, we can let Powell know that these two will starve to death. If anything happens to us.
Hold them as hostage, huh?
Yeah.
Good idea.
Now get your horses. We'll go back and see if there's any town left at the end of the track.
Right.
There we are.
What?
Look, Dave!
The masked man.
Got him. Take him, fellow. Just don't down, you teach you. Take that. Now, wait a minute.
For what?
Oh, get him again.
All right.
Oh, Dave, this is knocking right off his feet.
Darn it, Miss. Darn it. Why not? Wait. Let me fix him. No, take it. Oh.
That's done it, Jumping Juniper. That's done it.
Look at them, Mary. All three of them stretched out as cold as mackerel.
Mary, are you all right?
I will be as soon as you cut these ropes.
Here's a knife.
Let me loose. Let me loose so as I can fight if one of them polecats comes to.
Me fixed.
Dad, Dad, they're going to burn the town. Northcott told me about the plot.
We know about it, honey. Bill McGuire's handling things in town. Don't you worry. He will handle them.
In town, the Indians were taken completely by surprise. They had crept in to find the community practically deserted and had spread out to apply torches to the flimsy buildings, but that was as far as they had gone. At a signal, railroad men and soldiers opened fire from strategic points of ambush. Red Eagle and his savages found themselves surrounded. There was no escape. The defenders closed in and used their guns as clubs. Fighting was hand to hand, but the battle was short. Red Eagle thrilled a cry to his men. They threw down their tomahawks and knives and held out their hands in a gesture of surrender.
That does it, boys. That does it. We licked them. We beat them very well.
Now, Red Eagle, you and your men have made trouble for us for the last time. We're going to have an understanding.
Me double-crossed.
Yeah? I suppose that's how it seems to you.
There, fella.
Huh?
Let me get him. Wait. Let go of me. Let me show you. You've tricked Red Eagle.
I don't pull off. Give me a hand, boys. Help me hold this redskin. Get back there, Red Eagle. Get back. Now stand still or we'll drill you.
Ulamayo.
You, Fabian, stand still. So you're the critter that went to Red Eagle with a plan to wipe out the town.
Wait, listen, let me explain. That Indian's all wrong. He's got me mixed up.
Funny, Hayes. This is Powell. I just got here.
What about Mary? Where's Mary?
He's over yonder with Gabby and some of the men. They're guarding the critters that took him away. Northcutt talked. He named Fabian as the one who planned the whole idea of burning the town.
That dirty double-crossing coyote.
With both Northcutt and Red Eagle naming you Fabian, it looks like we got a plenty.
Boys, we're going to have a packed jail. By thunder, I'll bet all the tea in China. One of the prisoners will tell who's back of this plan to wreck our railroad.
We'll find a way to make him talk, boss.
If we don't find a way, we've got a friend who will. We got the Lone Ranger.
On Silver. Let's go, big fellow. I'll Silver.
One of the largest ranches in Wyoming was owned by a man named Kingdon. His acres were almost endless. But even so, he, like many of the other men in the vicinity, counted on the open range to feed his cattle. Misinformation had given them the impression that the building of the Union Pacific Railroad would bring hordes of eastern farmers who would settle farms and villages.
We can't let it happen. Man, we won't let it happen. We'll spend a fortune to prevent it.
We've already spent plenty, Pete.
Well, where do we stand, Kingdon?
I'll tell you where we stand.
That's why I called tonight's meeting here at my ranch house.
As far as I can see, the railroad crews are working as hard as ever.
Bates is right. They're progressing about 2 miles a day. What became of all the cash we spent? I thought Fabian was going to bribe those men.
Fabian didn't use that cash as he said he would.
Yes, where is Fabian?
Fabian's in jail. There's no use counting on Fabian. We've got to stop that Union Pacific outfit ourselves.
Look at here, Kingdon. I don't hanker to go up against the kind of men that are building that Union Pacific.
What do you mean, Bates? What kind of men have they got?
They're fighters.
Fighters is right. I'd like to have men like that working for me.
I hear they work with a pickaxe or a hammer in one hand and a rifle in the other. Redskins have tackled them at every turn. But the rails keep moving west.
There's only one way to lick 'em. We've got to do it ourselves. We can't count on men like Fabian.
Look here, Kingdon. Maybe we're wrong.
Wrong?
Maybe we're mistaken about how the railroad will cause the end of the open range.
We're not wrong. We've got to put an end to that railroad, and the time's getting mighty short.
Sure. How's that?
Have any of you boys been over to Dale Creek Canyon in the past few weeks?
That's way over at the end of the range. Don't get that far from home.
They're building a bridge. The biggest doggone bridge I ever saw. It's as high as 12 or 15 houses piled one atop the other.
That's pretty high.
They're working day and night. So that bridge will be ready when the track-laying crews get to Dale Creek. Men, if the raiders get beyond the canyon, there won't be much we can do about it. We've got to stop them. We can't count on Fabian or any of the others. We've got to do it on our own hook.
Just a minute, Kingdon.
What's the matter, Bates?
What about this gent that's called the Lone Ranger?
You heard about him, huh?
Of course I've heard about him. He's the one that spoiled every plan that's been tried.
I know it. He's made things a plenty tough. But he can't rebuild the Dale Creek Bridge single-handed.
If we destroy that bridge, it seems like you're going a mighty long way.
It's got to be destroyed, and we've got to do it. Unless someone's got a better plan. Well, speak up. I'm open to suggestions.
Can't figure anything.
No better plan, huh?
Kingdon, are you dead sure we got to stop the building of the railroad to save our open range?
We've been all over that, Bates.
Well, I reckon the Dale Creek Bridge has got to go.
Yeah, Bates is right.
All right. Now, here's the way we'll do it.
The town at the end of track had just been moved west. The houses, shops, and cafes, which had been built to accommodate the railroad workers and their families, as well as a number of hangers-on, had been loaded onto flat cars, moved ahead, and reestablished. The sturdiest of these buildings was the jail, which held 4 prisoners. With the moving of the community, the Lone Ranger and Tonto moved their camp. It was 24 hours after the move when Tonto rode into the camp and dismounted.
Whoa, fella. Whoa there.
Nothing new, huh, Tonto?
That's right.
I had hoped that Jim Powell and Bill McGuire might be able to make Fabian name the people who financed him.
Him got plenty cash.
Yes, I know that. Jim said there was several $1,000s in his pocket when he was captured. He wouldn't tell where it came from, huh?
Him not talk.
How about Northcott and the 2 others?
Them not talk either.
Tonto, for weeks now we've been trying to learn the identity of the men who are so determined to stop the Union Pacific.
That right.
We're going to try a desperate move.
What you do?
I'm going to get into a disguise.
Clothes of railroad worker?
No, not this time. Give me a hand with this saddlebag, will you? Help me lay out the clothing we got from that half-breed down in Texas.
You go like Payan?
Yes, Tonto.
What do?
We're going to attack the jail.
Attack jail?
That's right.
But me not savvy.
The only thing I can think of.
You mean let Cook go free?
That's it, Tonto.
There are plenty guard at jail. All railroad feller take turn at guard.
We'll have to do something about the guards. There. Now, I'll get into these clothes and disguise my face. By the time I'm ready, it'll be dark. We can make our move.
As Tonto had said, the railroad men took turns standing guard over the 4 prisoners in the small one-room building that served as a jail. Jim Powell, the engineer in charge, took his turn with the others. He and Bill McGuire, his foreman, shared the task. And as they sat before the door, they discussed the problems of the day.
The only thing that's worrying me, boss, is the Dale Creek Bridge.
What are you worried about, Bill?
Yeah, it's going to take a mighty big trestle. I hope it's done by the time we get there with the rails.
It should be.
but you're not sure.
I'll be sure before morning. I had word that Murphy was coming here.
Oh, he's the one in charge of the bridge, isn't he?
Yeah.
Is he coming here tonight?
Well, that's what I'm told.
Good. Will he know where to find us?
Mary and old Gabby are at the house. They'll tell Murphy where we're on guard. Sit down.
Yeah?
Did you hear something?
No. Why?
His father heard a horse around in back of the jail.
I didn't notice it. You think we ought to take a look?
Yeah, maybe so. Turn that lantern up high. I'll take it around back and see if anyone's there.
Can't take any chances with these four crooks.
I don't aim to.
Oh, this ain't I am so sorry.
Who are you, Breed? Where'd you come from?
Put down that gun. Who do you think you are?
Senor. Not waste time with questions. You'll do as I say, and you will not be injured.
Well, the four left.
Senor. Do not go for the gun.
All right, you've got the drop on us. What do you want?
Well, you will stay, huh? You will please keep facing this way and put your hands behind your back.
Quickly.
Behind the back.
You'd better do as he says, Bill. He handles that gun mighty easy.
That is it. Muy bien. Adam, amigo.
Hey.
It is all right, senor. My friend is behind you. He is to tie your hands.
I thought I heard a horse in back of the jail.
No, senor. It was not one horse. It was several horses you hear.
Several?
Si. Now, amigo, tie the hands of Senor Powell.
What horses you got?
For myself and my friend, we have our own horses, which are over to the side. But for those who are in the jail, I have borrowed horses from the livery stable. Also saddles.
So it's a jailbreak, huh?
Whoever's tying us sure knows how to handle ropes.
Now we'll open the door. It is good to have a jail door with a bolt on the outside instead of the usual lock.
You let those prisoners out and you'll regret it.
As to that, senor, we shall see. Now, please, keep facing this way. I would not care to have you recognize my friend who is behind your back.
Look, it's a break.
Senor Fabian, you are free. You will find the horses in the rear.
Come on, Oscar. Let's get out of here while we have the chance.
Right.
You won't get far, Fabian.
We'll get you, Fabian. You'll be back in jail inside of 24 hours.
Quiet.
What's that you hear, Breed?
Oh, that is nothing. Take the horses in the rear and ride.
Come on, Fabian. Let's not waste time. You'll need to tell us twice.
Now, Senor Powell, I will have to put you and the other into the jail to give us the chance to escape. Your friends will find you there.
Oh, let go.
Get your hands up.
We got you covered. Get him up.
It's 5-0 Murphy.
And Gabby.
Drop those guns. Do you hear me? Both of you.
Dad, are you hurt?
Mary.
There's three of us, and we're geared for shooting.
Take them.
Acting with lightning speed, the Lone Ranger leaped at Powell. The force of his charge drove the engineer against the drawn guns of Murphy and Gabby Norton. Tonto, meanwhile, grabbed Bill McGuire around the waist and swung him into the struggling men. It was a hand-to-hand conflict, with the Lone Ranger and Tonto trying desperately to disarm the new arrivals so they could make their escape. Mary stood at the edge of the fight. She held a gun which she didn't dare use for fear of hitting the wrong person. The group rolled near the lantern light, and the girl gasped.
Oh, no. No, I can't believe it.
I'll take the gun.
No.
Hurry, senorita. Come, amigo.
There they go. Get him. Dad, they cut my gun.
Shoot! Drill him! Murphy, what's the matter with you? Don't let him get away.
That bleed's as strong as a big hook.
Well, a bullet will stop him. Shoot.
He's got my gun. He snatched it right away from me.
Mary, you have a gun. Why didn't you shoot?
The Breed took mine.
Get us untied. Get these ropes off.
Hurry up, will you, Gabby?
Stand still. I'm trying to untie this knot.
Hurry up, Gabby. They've got horses. They're riding away.
Now, doggone it. Hold still. Hold still. I can't work these ropes while you're squirming so. Besides, those critters have got away by this time. I heard their horses start out. You can't do nothing on foot.
Oh, there you are, Powell. Your hands are free.
Confound it, Murphy. What's the matter with you? You were supposed to be one of the sharpest critters on the Union Pacific. But you let that breed catch you off guard. Even when you had the drop.
Now, hold on, Powell. I didn't come all the way from Dale Creek to listen to you two cinders.
I never seen anything move like that Breed.
Nor I, nor anyone else. Lightning hangs fire beside him.
Gosh, boss, you're lucky we got here at all. I tried to persuade Murphy to sit in the house and rest up for a spell till you and McGuire got through with your guard duty.
Rest up.
We knew as soon as we got close that you and McGuire were in a bad way. So Murphy passed one of his guns to Miss Mary.
Yeah, he might just as well have thrown them both away for all the good they did. Sure, and maybe I should have kept out of your private affairs and let the Breed do what he wanted.
He did what he wanted. He did exactly what he wanted. He let the prisoners out of the pokey.
That man was no half-breed.
What?
While you were struggling, the Indian who was with him got near the lantern, and I recognized
What
him.
are you talking about,
Mary?
Also, I recognized the voice of that man who was dressed as a half-breed.
Recognized his voice?
Yes.
It had a certain quality that was unmistakable, despite the fact that he talked broken English.
Well, who was he? Speak up, man.
Who was the Indian?
The Indian was Tonto, and the man who was disguised as a half-breed was the Lone Ranger.
Oh, that's the one you've been talking about. Everyone that comes to Jail Creek tells us how you've been getting so much assistance from this Lone Ranger.
Well, we did get help from him.
Sure, and this looks like it. This tracking that Shinny handed me is a sample of the way he helps I can do without him.
There's something wrong. Mary, you must have made a mistake.
I wish I had. But, Dad, I'm sure I haven't.
But why did the Lone Ranger let those prisoners out of jail?
The curtain falls on the first act of our Lone Ranger story. Before the next exciting scenes, please permit us to pause for just a few moments. Now to continue our story. Confusion reigned at the end of track. Jim Powell wanted every available man assembled and ready for action, and he let his desires be known by sending men to work the bell cords on the 3 engines that were on hand.
Have you got all them gandy dancers together?
Quiet down, all of you. Quiet down and listen to me. Lay off them signals.
What's going on? Why'd you call us together, boss? We're going to start working night.
Now, quiet down, boys. Listen to me. Listen to me.
Well, I'm up now.
The jail held 4 critters that made no end of trouble for us. We were holding them, hoping they'd name the main troublemaker. Well, they're free. They got loose.
They were busted out, that's what.
The man who did it has been posing as our friend. He called himself the Lone Ranger.
He was dressed as a half-breed the last time we saw him.
Yeah, he was dressed as a half-breed. But that Indian friend of his was dressed the same as usual. Now, boys, we're going manhunting.
Fabian and his companions made a beeline westward to the Kingdon Ranch. It was well after midnight when they reached their destination and reined up.
Get your horses, boys. I'll await the board.
A moment later, lamplight gleamed in the windows of the house. The door swung open.
Hello, Kingdon. Fabian, what are you doing here? I thought you were in jail.
We were.
We?
3 of the boys are with me.
3 of the...
I hired some men to work with me.
Yes, I heard that you did.
We're coming in.
Now, see here.
Shut up, Kingdon.
Good.
Back up. Come on, boys. We'll explain to Kingdon that he'd better hide it.
Now, see here. I don't want anything to do with you. I've given you money.
You wanted the railroad stuff, didn't you?
Not if it involved murder. Instead of doing as you said, you hired that scheming Jeremiah Gregg to wreck a couple of trains and kill a number of men.
You seem to be well informed.
I am. I know all about the things you tried to do.
Kingdon, there's something mighty strange about this. I figured you'd be glad to see us.
Glad?
In fact, I thought it was you who sent the Indian and the half-breed to get us out of jail.
The Indian? Half-breed? I don't know what you're talking about. Furthermore, I don't care. Now clear out.
Sorry, Kingdon. We can't do that. Gotta have a place to hide out, and this ranch is it.
Why,
Grab him, boys.
That's it. Now hang on. Confound you, Fabian.
Shut up. We'll let you have it with his gun.
All right, Fabian. You got the drop on me.
You're showing some sense.
What are your plans?
It'd go hard with you, Kingdon, if we were found here. We'd have to tell the truth about things. We'd have to tell that you and your rancher pals paid for all the trouble the Union Pacific has had, including several murders.
That's not true. I told you at the outset that no one should be injured.
Who's going to believe your story?
Why...
Now get back.
Get back!
Better jump me when I'm holding the gun. What do you want? Long way from here to the border. Take considerable cash to finance the four of us until we could get out of the country and settle somewhere else.
So that's it.
Now, your neighbors chipped in to finance my work. They're involved as deeply as you. They'll contribute to send me and my friends out of the country. I'm sure you see it'll be a good investment. We're the only ones who can tie you and Bates and the others into the murder.
And have you blackmailing us from now on? Not on your life. I'll not give you a dime. You can face the music. You can hang.
You'll hang with us.
I'll tell the truth, and the people will believe me.
Like fun, they will. If you tell the truth, you'll admit you hired us to block the Union Pacific Railroad. Who believe you ordered us to do it without hurting anyone?
I will.
What's the matter, man?
Drop the gun, Fabian.
Oh!
Me fix
Now, wait a minute. Oh! That's the stuff.
Stand back, Fabian.
My arm is hit.
We'll dress the wound before we tie you. You two, pick up that man Tonto knocked out. Take him to that side of the room.
Come on.
You get over there, Fabian. Watch him, Tonto.
Where did you come from?
I'm the one who released you four from jail.
What? You let these four out?
That's right, Kingdon.
We were released by a half-breed.
I discarded that outfit and put on these clothes and my mask while we were trailing you four.
But if you let them out, why did you trail them? Who are you?
I thought they might report to the man who hired them if they had the chance.
And that's what they did.
I learned quite a bit before I declared myself, Kingdon. I'm glad you were opposed to the way Fabian went about things.
I thought those railroad men could be bribed to quit work. Fabian said they could.
Why did you and your friends want them to quit work?
So Congress would stop appropriations for the railroad and the project would be dropped.
Why did you want the project dropped?
It must be dropped. Success for the railroad will mean the end of all cattlemen.
Who said so?
Fabian, who showed me figures. The number of people who are waiting for the chance to come here and settle. The number of farmers who would plow the range.
You believe Fabian?
Well,
You still believe him after what you've seen him do?
Yeah.
Kingdon, stop and think. You and Bates and the others are the pioneers who conquered this country. You won it from the Indians. You gave your blood to hold it. Do you think Abe Lincoln would do anything to hurt men like you?
I believed Fabian at the time.
You still believe him?
Yeah,
Can't you see it was simply a scheme on his part to get money from you? Money supposedly for bribes? Money that he planned to keep for himself.
Doggone it, I see it now. Listen, something must be done right away. The Dale Creek Bridge.
What about the bridge?
Bates, the other ranchers, and I decided to take matters into our own hands. We drew lots. Bates and Jackson have gone to set fire to the bridge.
Set fire to it?
Yeah, they've got to be stopped. They've got to be made to see things as I see them.
How many of them?
About 10 men all told. Bates, Jackson, and my ranch hands.
How long ago did they leave here?
I don't know, but they plan to start the fire after the moon's gone down.
We can make it if we ride hard. Have you a good horse?
Yes.
Saddle up. Well, I'll help Tonto rope these prisoners.
Right away.
Tonto, we'll tie 3 of them. You'll have to dress Fabian's wound before you tie him.
Me fix him.
Then you'll have to stay here and watch them. I'll come back when our work is done.
Several parties of railroad men had started out in different directions on the manhunt. But when sharp tracks had been found, Paul had brought all his men into one unit to follow those tracks in the moonlight. He rode ahead with Murphy on one side and McGuire on the other.
The moon makes it as bright as day. Hey, look ahead there.
What do you see, Murphy?
That ranch house. Lighted up like a Christmas tree. What do you make of that?
It's late for a place to be lighted.
There's no good in it. Mark what I say.
Horses outside.
Hear that white one? The tracks meet right there.
The end of our trail. Come on, let's get going.
Wait. Someone's coming from the house. 2 men.
Hey, look. You see him? Masked. Our man. Let's go. Get him
Those horsemen are coming here.
Mount up, Kingdon. Those are railroad men.
Then we
They
better.
have questions that we can't take the time to answer. Get that saddle and stay as close to me as possible. Steady, big fella.
Come on, Silver. Get out there.
The Lone Ranger rode alone, He was far ahead of Rancher Kingdon, who in turn maintained a good lead on the railroad men. As he rode, the masked man watched the moon sink closer to the horizon. The moon seemed to become larger, ever larger, as it sank. It became a great ball of pale light that rested on the distant line where sky met earth. It served as a background for a settlement of low buildings at the edge of Dale Creek Canyon.
We'll make it. Come on, Silver! Oh, Silver, oh, easy. Steady, big fella. All right. Come on, man.
The masked rider roused the construction camp. The bridge builders were angry at being wakened so early. They gathered close, demanding explanations, asking questions.
Who are you? What's that mask mean? Bring more ladders here. What's going on?
Now, listen to me. I've brought the answer to all the opposition the Union Pacific has had this side of Cheyenne.
Well, let's hear it.
The ranchers misunderstood a lot of things. Here's our leader to explain. All right, go ahead, Kingdon. Talk to these men.
Now, boys, listen to me. Somewhere in hiding, there are men who plan to burn your bridge. Now, wait. Plans are to be called off. Bates, Carlson, Joe, Hawkins, all of you, wherever you are, come out of hiding. From now on, everything is going to be different.
When Paul and his men reached Dale Creek, they were tired and furiously angry. At first, they refused to listen to explanations. Then they calmed down. And when they had heard what Kingdon and the masked man had told the bridge crew, their anger was entirely gone. They were in high spirits during the return trip and reached the end of track in mid-morning. It was a little later when Jim Paul went to his house to tell Mary what had happened.
So you see, Mary, you were right. That man was the Lone Ranger disguised as a half-breed.
Oh.
But he was all right. He was on our side. He let those prisoners out so as he could find the men on top. They turned out to be ranchers that had listened to a lot of poison talk.
Well, Dad, now where do things stand?
Ace high. Kingdon and the other ranchers will deal with Fabian and his pals. They'll see that the law gives them all that's coming to them. What's more, they'll help us all they can.
How splendid. And the Indians are suppressed.
From now on, the Union Pacific will have clear sailing all the way. And for that, we can thank the Lone Ranger.
It was a long time before the last spike was finally driven and the Union Pacific Railroad completed. But time, money, even human life means little to men who build for posterity. When the first train thundered westward on tracks that continued unbroken across the entire West, the Lone Ranger and Tonto watched from a hill.
The first one, Tonto. The forerunner of greater things to come.
That right.
Transportation and communication are the foundations of progress, Tonto. They pace the march of progress. And those who contribute to their development are soldiers in the service of their country just as truly as the men who carry guns in war. Men fought and died to make the Union Pacific a reality. Oh, but look, Tonto. Look at that train. Those rails to the horizon and beyond. What man could have a greater monument?
As the nation grew, the Union Pacific kept pace. Until today, great giants of streamlined power streak across the nation, carrying the passengers with greater luxury and comfort than one would find in the average home. It was the Union Pacific Railroad that led the way for expansion to the West. In leadership, advancement, and the development of new and greater trains, the Union Pacific still blazes the trail, just as it did when that familiar cry rang out in the early West.
I'll Silver! Hoy!
story you have just heard is a copyrighted feature of the Lone Ranger Incorporated.
This has been a presentation of OTRWesterns.com, and we hope you enjoyed. Please take some time to like and rate our shows in your favorite podcast application. Follow us on Facebook by going to OTRWesterns.com/Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel by going to OTRWesterns.com/YouTube. And send us an email, podcast@OTRWesterns.com. You can call and leave us a voicemail, 707-986-8739. This episode is copyright under the Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike copyright. For more information, go to OTRWesterns.com/copyright. Have a great day, and thanks for listening.